Thank you, Chair. May I check, am I sharing time with Senator Maria? Yeah, if I could share 2.5 with Senator Maria Byrne. Thank you, Minister, for coming into us today. It really is, it's very tough. It's just such a mark in our history, the Cervical Check Tribunal. Terrible outcomes, losses of life, and I suppose it is really to recognise the women here today and their families. I suppose the Cervical Tribunal is looking at the state cervical screening programme, the inaccurate diagnosis and the lack of treatment. I suppose, as has been mentioned here already, I really would like to encourage women to ensure that they are getting their regular checks. I know with everything to do with lockdown and the pandemic, we've put it behind us, we prioritise other things and we forget about our own health. I suppose, just log on to cervicalcheck.ie, book your appointment, and I suppose I'd like to acknowledge the GP services in our towns and villages that really, so many provide this service. It's not difficult to get this done. I suppose I would like to ask you, Minister, maybe measures to support our GP services and I suppose primary care in terms of having more specialties for women's health in our sort of more local GP practice, family practices. And then just as well, as has been mentioned, to encourage parents, for young girls to consider the importance of the HPV vaccine. Imagine that, not having to go for smear tests, to be able to have that. It's so crucial. Minister, I suppose what I'd like to focus on is that, as has been mentioned by Senator Loughlin, there's the investment in the clinical lead for women's health, which is wonderful. I suppose maybe just a question around when, or has that person been appointed yet? I suppose I'd like to speak to a little bit as well is the investment maybe in healthcare infrastructure, resources, labs, sort of the training of medical scientists, all of these things perhaps that will prevent anything like this occurring again, or what sort of infrastructure do we need to have in place? Minister, I welcome this bill to extend the period for compensation claims. I really do. And I just really want to acknowledge the bravery, the real bravery, I suppose the strength of women who are suffering this impact. And very much to acknowledge, as has been mentioned here, the 221 group, the Cervical Check Patient Support Group, how they really support women, I suppose, in the first step of them going into this process. And just to acknowledge that it is an extremely onerous process. It's such a demand, if a woman is going through this, to have to also deal with the potential tribunal or the legal side, and really to acknowledge just the strength and bravery of women who are doing this as well as managing the outcomes to their own health. Gur míle maith agad.